Right, I'll be really honest.
Yeah.
It's my boss said we're going to go along with this, and I'm naturally a little bit sceptical because I'm a bit like, well, I've got to go for this. I've got to have so many points progress per half term. The data's got to be in next week, so I'm sweating that one. And I just think sometimes, oh God, I've got all these different things to do. I buy into this, yeah, I agree with this, but how am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? I think when I actually sat down and started knocking it together, and then the enthusiasm of the children, even when a cynical so-and-so around, well, cynical so-and-so like me around. So I think it was suggested to me, and and my boss had done more research than me, so I was a bit like playing catch up, and I didn't quite know. Well, sort of nodding, going, yeah, I've got this, but I've not really read this and fully understood this myself. So I think more you get into it, and more you own it, and if you actually play around and map something out that you can make, you actually, yeah, believe it's going to happen, and it will happen. One of the ideas before we stumbled across your good self was an early learning excellence centre in Huddersfield. And I remember a couple of our staff went across, and I went with my head, Angela Onicle, and it was about a head who was talking about how they reorganised their curriculum. And I think one of the ones they had for year 2 was the go-kart race, and they actually raced go-karts round the playground, and they did books to explain friction and movement and the forces. So that got us thinking along those processes of how to start trying to make a product or a reason or a real life purpose for all our learning. It was very much a case of, we've learned all this about the Greeks, right, we're going to show how the Spartans fought, what food they ate. We didn't get our head around actually thinking, this is what we're going to do, and then going along a timeline and unpicking it. So there wasn't a great deal of critique. It was a case of, we're showing all this learning, and let's rush it all together in 2 weeks, panic station for us and the kids, and bang. It was very enjoyable, the kids loved it, the parents loved it, but it was that lack of rigor and involvement by the children. Initially, I think everybody was like, oh, we've got to cover all of these skills, so what can we show that covers all these skills? And there isn't anything, I don't think, that's purposeful. Or there isn't anything you can stop, revisit, critique, fine-tune, redraft. So the key thing for me that's still resonating is keep it really small and simple and make it really bloody good, to be honest. Simple as that. But you know, all the rest of the curriculum can still continue under the banner of, but it's this bit we're going to polish and show and exhibit. The way we teach in English and maths is not, we've done that one day, we're moving on to that. We only move on to the next thing if we've nailed this. So you might find one lesson might last 3 or 4 sessions, or you might find what you're planning one lesson, you're doing 30 minutes because the kids have got it. So there is that sort of culture that we reevaluate the learning all the time, and there's that dialogue. So we've got that embedded, but the redrafting, yeah, I think that's something we're going to have to work on. And I think for the kids, they've got to buy into, but they've got to be engaged, and they've got to believe in the product, and then they are going to be willing to do it because they know that's the goal or that's the bar, we've got to hit it. It's not redrafting for no purpose. The thought was, we've got a very active PTA or PSA, and we were thinking about having a select group, possibly pitching it to them. Then got sort of grander ideas of thinking, oh, could we go to David Lloyd? So I think we're going to have to, as a team, we're going to have to look at our exhibit a little bit clearer, because there's a few things bouncing around and thinking, well, it's got to be public, we've got to promote it. So that I then have to think about persuasive writing in my English now. So I think I need to come back to my exhibit. I know what my product is going to be, but it's how I'm going to exhibit it as well. And also that thing you discussed about how you show the children's journey of learning. So can they see, like photocopies of the drafts? Can they have something written that will say, I was told this was good, this was the critique I got, I took this critique, I then acted upon it, I then put in X amount of adverbs to make it more persuasive, I use some technical language to make my non-chronological report more scientific, I refer to this. So I want to do that. It's thinking, how can we do all of that and show these as well?